Right, so the World Cup is a perfect shot window for potential clubs to buy from, right? And the only problem is that one tournament wonders are exactly that. I mean, they impress for about 3 weeks, and then they worm their way into getting a massive transfer, and then revert back to being about as useful as a Calippo smeared in sand. I mean, lads, after Euro 2004, Milan Barros was being eyed up by Real Madrid and Barcelona. Yeah, 3 years later, and he was living on Portsmouth's bench. But still, I'm gonna find one World Cup star this month who each Premier League club should buy in January. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Sofian Amrabat. Okay, hands up. How many of you thought at the start of November that one of the biggest World Cup stars would be Fiorentina's midfielder rabbit Sofian Amrabat? Come on now, don't be shy. I'll wait. Yeah, that's right. Oh, back in November, you would have looked at this guy as if he was just some insignificant bag of undercooked egg yolks. To you, this guy was going to fit in at the World Cup the same way a 14-year-old bookworm would fit in at Snoop Dogg's birthday party. Listen, I know it's dangerous to buy players off the back of an international tournament. And guys, well, that's how the Premier League gets infected by the likes of El Hadj Diouf, someone that was football's answer to barbecued vomit. But still, listen, shove this all-action, energetic, tackling monstrosity onto Arsenal's bench, and he'll be what everyone wanted Lucas Torreira to be, who, ironically, was his midfield teammate last year. Stick in a £30 million bid. He's a useful addition to Arsenal's squad, although admittedly his arrival next month would probably make Mohamed El Neni spend 12 hours crying in the bath whilst eating cake, drinking wine, and listening to the soundtrack of Bridget Jones' Aston Villa Harry Maguire. Okay, I realise this transfer looks weird, and fans of every Premier League club have been conditioned to believe that Harry Maguire is just some 6'4" fridge. You know, the Premier League's clown. The unpopular kid in school who routinely gets dead mice stuffed in his school bag and with a kick me sign sellotaped to his back. But I'm sorry, Aston Villa, you would be lucky to have Maguire at your club. I'm sorry, but next season, having a centre-back pairing of Harry Maguire and the Brazilian Diego Carlos, that is a good partnership. I mean, guys, well, they both turned 30 years old within a week of each other, so they're not exactly raw teenagers who'll be up until 3 AM on a Friday night drinking Pepsi and playing naked Xbox. No. Manchester United would surely want Maguire's wages off the payroll, so if Villa can sell Maguire the Emery project and make him their highest paid player with £180,000 a week wages, oh yeah, and promise him the captaincy and give him first dibs on the canteen chocolate pie, oh, and make sure you never organise a pre-season friendly in Greece, then I think Maguire, he'd go to Villa Park. And trust me, if you can get the Leicester City version of a confident Harry Maguire in this Villa team, he'd be absolutely brilliant. Honestly, Villa, in January, stuck in a £45 million bid, and you'll get your man. Bournemouth, Dominic Livakovic. Bournemouth need goalkeeping competition. I mean, Everton's conceding 9 in one match. I think everyone connected with Bournemouth now looks at the poor old Mark Travers with nothing but pity in their eyes, while Brazil boy Neto, yeah, he's done well since moving from Barcelona on a free, but I just think, go out there and get Dominic Livakovic. He's a 27-year-old goalkeeper who's been utterly spectacular for Croatia in this tournament, and he's never played any sort of football outside Zagreb, so offer him the bright lights of the Premier League. Toss in a £10 million bid, and suddenly, oh, you've got serious goalkeeping competition at your club. Brentford, Miroslav Orsic. Are we ever going to see Miroslav Orsic in the Premier League? Ever since he smashed in a hat-trick past Tottenham 2 years ago, we've seen this guy linked with England every 6 weeks, and yet nothing ever happens. So I'm sorry, Brentford. It's time to strap on your big boy pants and go out there and make a sickeningly ambitious signing. This guy is a 29-year-old attacking midfielder who, yeah, usually bangs in 20 goals a season for Dynamo Zagreb. He's already got 13 goals this season, including the winner against Chelsea in the Champions League. Listen, because he turns 30 this month, I don't think he'll cost the world, but imagine, just imagine, being able to toss Brian and Bemo underneath the kitchen sink and have Orsic playing off Ivan Toney. And don't tell me this is unrealistic. Guys, well, go back to January of this year and he was being offered to Burnley. I mean, I'm sure when his agent told him that, he probably looked at Burnley on the map and then vomited in his shreddies. Brighton, Yusuf Enesri. Look, Brighton need a striker, and I know. Me recommending that you sign a centre forward with 0 league goals in 10 games for Sevilla this season, yeah, you're not exactly thrilled. But lads, he's been in good form for Morocco, and it was only 2 years ago he exploded with 24 goals in one season. When was the last time Danny Welbeck ever did that? Probably for the Man United under-12s. There are goals in this guy, and this is the perfect time to swoop. When, yeah, he's currently failing in a Spanish relegation scrap. Jorge Sampaoli's probably so fed up with him that I'd honestly be tempted to trade him in for a half-eaten yogurt and a packet of crisps. Go on, Roberto De Zerbi, go out there and buy an Esri for £15 million. Yeah, probably make Danny Welbeck upset. Chelsea, Memphis Depay. Am I the only one who thinks that it's time to bring Memphis Depay back to the Premier League? Lad, he's only 28 years old and he's been gone from England for nearly 6 years. I mean, is his Premier League legacy really going to be 2 stinking goals against Sunderland and Watford? Instead of getting frustrated by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang resembling a lazy Adebayor for an hour in every Chelsea match, just go out there and get Depay from Barcelona for what? 10 million quid? I mean, he's out of contract in July. Give him a pay packet of £200,000 a week and stick him in the front three with Raheem Sterling and Mason Mount. Yeah, pretty simple one this. Crystal Palace, Haji Wright. Crystal Palace need goals, so why not? It's a gamble, yes. Haji Wright is a 24-year-old USA striker who's probably just scored the biggest ever fluke at the World Cup against Holland in the last 16. But lad, he's a goal machine for Antalyaspor in the Turkish Super League. 15 goals last season and already 9 and 12 so far this campaign. And Patrick Vieira is a man who's already lived in New York, where Wright used to play. Yeah, it is a risk, okay? And in the Premier League, yeah, he could be about as dangerous in front of goal as a blind Finding Nemo. But he could also be a hidden gem. I think it's worth a shout. He could be the American Daniel Sturridge. Well, I mean, peak Daniel Sturridge. Not the fat bag of beans melting on a beach in Australia. Everton, Daichi Kamada. Finally, a Japan star makes the list. Lads, after their miracle World Cup group stage, I'm sorry, but at least one Japanese footballer deserves a monster move. And, yeah, okay. Me suggesting that Daichi Kamada quits the current Europa League champions and sacrifice actual Champions League football to go and play with Dwight McNeil and listen to Frank Lampard mumbling through his team talk like a dehydrated squirrel. But still, it's a Premier League gig for a massive club. I mean, Kamada is a guy who's only got 12 goals and 4 assists this season. I mean, he's just after scoring in 3 Champions League games in a row. He's keeping Japanese golden boy Takumi Minamino out of the Japan team. So yeah, me even suggesting that Everton have a chance of signing him, it's probably about as realistic as me expecting to star in a film with Johnny Depp. But Everton should at least try. Honestly, what a coup Kamada would be. Fulham, Josip Juranovic. Yeah, right now, Celtic fans will be getting sick on the couch. I mean, how uncomfortable do you think they've been watching Croatia at the World Cup? Every time Josip Juranovic does something good, they probably started hyperventilating into a shoe. They don't want everyone to realize how good this guy is. They just want everyone to leave him alone. I mean, right now, they probably got about 17 emails from chairmen inquiring about him. Honestly, give it 3 days, and that computer is probably going in a bin. Listen, Celtic fans probably won't think that Fulham are a threat. Honestly, it's like telling Ben Affleck that Johnny Vegas wants to steal his wife. Yeah, I mean, I doubt he's losing any sleep. But lad, it's a Premier League gig in swanky West London. Fulham can take him if they want him. I think he's a massive upgrade on Kenny Tete at right back. So go out there, buy Juranovic, even give Celtic Kevin and Babu in a swap deal, and yeah, he'd be a solid mid-season buy. Leeds, Harry Sutar. Okay, I realize this could legitimately be a player that I'm looking at through tournament goggles. Lads, Harry Sutar has been brilliant at the heart of Australia's defence at the World Cup, yes. But really, he is just some grubby 6'6" monster born in the slums of Aberdeen and who is into his 7th year at Stoke. So yeah, give it a year and I could look back on this suggestion and wonder whether or not I said this with wet milkshake rotting in my brain. Throwing him into the Premier League, yeah, he could be out of his depth, like Peter Dinklage in a swimming pool. But it's worth a gamble. Go on, Jesse Marsh. Go out there and pay £12 million to throw this guy into your lead squad. Sure, he could rise to the occasion and be a monster find, or he could just be one of these one-tournament wonders who go on to have a career about as impressive as microwave poo. Leicester, Matt Turner. Leicester City need a goalkeeper. I'm sorry, I know they're on a brilliant run of clean sheets, but let's be honest, the World Cup just demonstrated that Danny Ward is hideously bang average. Christ, he began the tournament playing second fiddle to a nearly 40-year-old man on Nottingham Forest bench. When he did play against England for Wales, it was like watching Susan Boyle try to dance. I think Leicester should go out there and buy Matt Turner, who, I'm sorry, look composed, assured, and absolutely excellent for the USA. Like, if there's one thing you can trust, it's a USA #1 goalkeeper in the Premier League. Whoever they have is always terrific in England. Whether it was Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, Tim Howard, they were always reliable on Match of the Day. I know Arsenal don't want to get rid, but I'm sorry, Leicester, take a big fat chunk of that Wesley Fofana paycheck, stuff in a £25 million bid, and Arsenal are probably taking the cash. Turner deserves to be a Premier League #1 goalkeeper. Brendan Rodgers, sign him now. He's utter class. I mean, this guy didn't even start playing soccer until he was 14 years of age. That's how. This is a guy who would never kick the ball until 2008. And even then, he only took it up in PE to just stay in shape for his basketball team. He said he didn't even fall in love with the sport until the 2010 World Cup. I mean, he was 16. I have been playing football longer than this guy. For example, put the two of us together on a 5-side pitch in the summer of 2007, and I would be building a hat-trick past this fella after 7 minutes. And now look at him. Now he's so much better than me. It's honestly... it's not fair. Liverpool, Ricardo Horta. Yeah, Liverpool fans will be underwhelmed by this. But lads, this is your classic mid-season stopgap. Come on, injuries forced you to sign Ben Davies 2 Januaries ago. You can't get mad about this. Listen, Luis Diaz is out for 3 months with an injury, so go out there and buy Ricardo Horta. Yes, he is a 28-year-old winger who has the star quality of a septic tank. I get that. But he has just scored for Portugal at the World Cup. I mean, let's put it in perspective. Both he and Cristiano Ronaldo are Portugal teammates, right? Well, in terms of popularity, Horta has 0.4% of Ronaldo's followers on Instagram. 0.4. But he has just scored for Portugal at the World Cup, and he's off the back of a season where he netted 23 goals for Braga. This guy with 100 goals in 301 games for Braga, he is not a slouch. I know he absolutely failed at Malaga in Spain, but that was 7 years ago. This is a guy who's already had to reject disrespectful offers from the MLS. No. Show him the respect that he deserves. I mean, that's like a female pop star being asked out by the fat old neighbor who takes baths with his dog. I think the stopgap signing of Horta on the wing, it could be a Jurgen Klopp master stroke. Chuck in a £20 million bid and get the deal done. Although it will be complicated because Malaga still own 2/3 of the economic rights. Yeah, Horta is a weird one. Man City, Alexis McAllister. Why not? Alexis McAllister is a brilliant ball-playing midfield maestro who is excelling in the Premier League with Brighton, and he's also lit up the World Cup with Argentina. I mean, yes, I know, with a name like that, he sounds like he should be getting paid to fix Charlie Allen's toilet in some flat in Dundee, but the guy is an absolute baller. I know Man City are like that spoiled child on Christmas Day. I mean, they don't really need more toys, but the guy's only 23 years of age. I don't know, bring him in as a squad player, groom him to be a future Kevin De Bruyne replacement in 2 years, and yeah, could be a £35 million coup. Man United, Goncalo Ramos. This seems like a lazy suggestion, right? I mean, Portugal have replaced Cristiano Ronaldo with Goncalo Ramos, so Manchester United should just do the same, right? Well, yes. I know the guy has got an official buyout clause of £103 million. But I mean, this is the same guy who's been offered to Newcastle United last year. He is a promising 21-year-old forward, but are you telling me that a team like Benfica are really going to hold out for more than 100 million quid? Okay, yeah, I know they did that for João Felix 3 years ago, but I honestly believe that £70 million, a Darwin Núñez as bid, will get the deal done. I mean, this guy knows where the net is. He's already banged in 14 goals this season, just scored a World Cup hat-trick against the Swiss, and he's young. Go on, Eric Ten Hag. Go out there and buy Ramos. Chuck in a big fat bid, and suddenly you'll have both Ramos and Marcus Rashford battling it out for the centre forward spot. We're actually at a stage now where Rashford is the senior experienced pro. Newcastle, Christian Pulisic. Right now, Newcastle United are flawless. Not one player in their team deserves to be dropped. So me unhelpfully suggesting that Eddie Howe needs to sign more players, yeah, it doesn't feel right. But they do need to sign more, especially if they're serious about cracking into the Champions League spots. Chelsea might not be keen to let him leave, but just go out and test the waters. Christian Pulisic could be Newcastle's first big marquee signing of the takeover era. He's an absolute USA superstar who shone at the World Cup. I mean, yes, it's Chelsea stats to make him look like a Stamford Bridge flop, and the last time Newcastle signed an injury-prone Chelsea winger who was an international superstar, and yeah, you end up relegating them with an own goal and getting shouted at by fat Geordies at the back of Wagamamas. Poor old Damien Duff. I love the man, but he had all the impact of a soggy steak and kidney pie. But still, go on Newcastle, chuck in a £40 million bid and get the deal done, and then suddenly Newcastle are going to the next level. Nottingham Forest, Sofia Boufal. I never understood why Southampton binned off Sofia Boufal. The guy's got magic in his feet. He's the Moroccan Hatem Ben Arfa. Does nobody remember the goal he scored against West Brom? Legitimately, one of the greatest solo goals in Premier League history. Listen, he's 29 years old. He's been electric for Morocco in this tournament, and he currently plays for Angers in France. Steve Cooper, go out there and get him on the cheap. Add this element of star quality into your team, and if you coach him correctly, he could be utterly magical. Southampton, Jawad El Yamik. Again, this could be more tournament goggles, but is Jawad El Yamik not worth a gamble? Yeah, he's a 30-year-old centre-half for Real Valladolid, and I know what you're saying. If he was that good, we'd have heard of him by now. But lads, he's been part of a rock-solid World Cup defence with Morocco. They barely conceded any goals. He's a 6'4" giant of a centre-half. I reckon Nathan Jones could do worse than go out and take a punt on him. Tottenham, Hakim Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech is class. I don't want to hear any nonsense that he's a Chelsea flop. The guy is one of the most technically gifted bowlers in the world. It's just Chelsea don't know how to use it. Antonio Conte, go out there and buy this Moroccan superstar. I mean, looking at the fact that, yeah, he's only scored 6 Premier League goals would indicate that he's a wet pudding of a footballer not suited to the English game. But no, it's not true. Bring him to Spurs, and this guy's deliveries would suit Harry Kane to a T. I would actually play him central. Give him a free role as a number 10. I mean, like Rafael van der Vaart under Harry Redknapp, who is weirdly another former Ajax playmaker who was born in the Netherlands. If I were Conte, I would switch the forward at the back, have 2 defensive midfielders, and then, yeah, Ziyech in the number 10 role behind Harry Kane, with Son on Min and Richarlison on the wings. Honestly, am I wrong? West Ham, Olivier Giroud. This is ambitious. I know. Would Olivier Giroud really give up Champions League football at 36 years of age to move to West Ham? Well, Kieran Trippier gave up Champions League football last January to move to a relegation scrap. It happens. If Giroud gets the right contract, he will go. As it stands, his Milan deal is up in the summer. and there's no guarantee he'll get another deal. If I'm West Ham, give Giroud a 2.5-year deal, and he's not turning that down. I mean, sure, by then he'll be a few months off turning 39, but so? The oldest ever Premier League goal scorer was Teddy Sheringham, 3 months off turning 41, and guess what? Was playing for West Ham. Giroud has still got it. Giroud could be about to win his second World Cup. I think he'd be a useful player to have in the squad, even at 38, 39. Wolves won't Wakehorst. Yeah, I'm suggesting that Wolves buy a Burnley flop. Yes, that is correct, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers, Wolves. Right now, you've barely got anything up front. Listen, it didn't happen for Wakehorst at Turf Moor, no, but he is still a goal poacher. I mean, 2 years ago, he was a legitimate 20-goal-a-season striker in the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg, and getting linked with a move to Arsenal. I mean, he just scrambled in 2 against Argentina. He's not just some broken toy. Use him right, and he can score goals. He's currently on loan to Besiktas, but offer Burnley their money back. Pay them the £12 million, and who knows? He might score 5 or 6 goals for Wolves. Honestly, you could do worse. Anyway, that's for watching. Let me know in the comments below what World Cup star would you sign for your club. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.